sport, there's nothing more satisfying than hearing a big crowd go silent, and that's the aim for us tomorrow. Yeah, you've just got to embrace everything.
Exciting comeback.
Glenn Maxwell! Unbelievable!
Shocking results.
That's a win for Netherlands.
Broken records.
Goalie goes out of the ground.
And shattered dreams.
It was almost as if the celebration was there, and suddenly the cops came in and said, you don't have a license to celebrate today anymore. It was that heartbreaking.
The 2023 edition of ICC Men's Cricket World Cup truly had it all. But what stands out the most is that one of the greatest teams in the history of cricket that did not end up winning the tournament. That's right, folks. Today, we'll be talking about how and why Team India failed to perform on the biggest stage of cricket. This is the story of the disappointing fate of India's super team. With Virat Kohli in the front line, Rohit Sharma showing promising signs as a captain with excellent team management and field setting, and Rahul Dravid proving himself as a tactical genius, it was all upon the shoulders of the players to deliver when it matters. But before we talk about this year's campaign, we need to roll back and understand how India became the cricketing superpower that they are today. The all-conquering Indian cricket team that we know is very different from the one that debuted in the World Cup. In fact, in the first two editions of the tournament, the only highlights were the horrible performance of their players. Be it Sunil Gavaskar's embarrassing 36 off 174 balls in 1975, or the fact that the team did not score 200 in a single match in 1979. However, one tournament changed everything. We're talking about India's legendary 1983 victory. Prior to this tournament, no one believed in the team, and they had valid reasons, given the team's poor track record. The brilliance of India's amazing all-rounders Kapil Dev, Roger Binny, and Ravi Shastri forced him to do just that. This victory fueled changes outside the field as well. India's fanbase grew exponentially, and Kapil Dev developed into a national hero. In the 1987 World Cup, hosted by India and Pakistan, India crossed the group stage with ease, winning 5 out of 6 matches and finishing first with a promising start in the tournament. Unfortunately, their dream run ended in the semi-final with a disappointing loss against England. Fast forward 3 years, winning the 1990 Asia Cup, India hoped to work wonders in the 1992 World Cup as the world witnessed the debut of arguably the greatest batsman of all time, Sachin Tendulkar. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out as expected, as India exited the World Cup only in the group stages and saw bitter rivals Pakistan lift the trophy. India hosted the World Cup again in 1996, and they crossed the group stage with relative ease. There was a lot of good that came off of that tournament, with 23-year-old Sachin scoring over 500 runs and Anil Kumble impressing the world with his 15 wickets. However, this tournament haunts Indian cricket fans and lives in infamy for one reason: the semi-final against eventual champions Sri Lanka. There was nothing embarrassing about the loss. In fact, restricting a world-class side with Sri Lanka to 251 runs was impressive, to say the least. The batting left a lot to be desired though, and this is what set off one of the most violent crowd reactions in cricket history. Seeing a score of 120 for 8, the fans rioted, setting fires and throwing stones and bottles at the players. Match referee Clive Lloyd had to award the match to Sri Lanka at this stage, as play simply could not continue under these conditions.
Stuff. This game is going to have to be awarded to the Sri Lankans.
The 1999 World Cup was also a bad campaign for the men in blue. They reached the Super Six, but they only won one match and finished dead last in the table at this stage. On the bright side, this is where the legendary batting trio of Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, and Sourav Ganguly was formed. After winning the coveted Champions Trophy in 2002, India was geared up and ready to shine in the 2003 World, and they did shine by reaching the finals under the captaincy of Sourav Ganguly. This campaign saw India improve their squad in all areas, with batsman Virender Sehwag, bowler Zahir Khan, and all-rounder Yuvraj Singh. All this talent wasn't enough to stand up to the mighty Australia, who won their second World Cup on the bounce with a dominant display in the final. 2007's campaign was their worst in years, with the team not even reaching Super 8. There was a national uproar with riots and public outrage. The team, however, did quickly earn back their nation's support by winning the T20 World Cup later that year. With the 2010 Asia Cup in the bag, India looked to make it 3 trophies in a row by winning the 2011 World Cup, and after 27 long years, India was the world champion again.
India lift the World Cup after 28 years.
Led to success by MS Dhoni, this team saw the introduction of modern-day greats Ravichandran Ashwin and, of course, King Virat Kohli. India had a sensational run, no doubt thanks to all-rounder Yuvraj Singh, whose 362 runs and 15 wickets earned him the Player of the Tournament award. What's more impressive than his stats is the fact that he was battling cancer at the time. They followed this massive victory up with another major trophy in the 2013 Champions Trophy led by MS Dhoni. Things could not be better for Team India. Perhaps we spoke too soon. You see, after bringing home the 2013 Champions Trophy, India would not win a single World Cup or Champions Trophy. The only trophy they've won since then is the Asia Cup, and they've done so a record 8 times. What's painful for India fans is that the team has all the qualities to win every single tournament they play. This is proven by the fact that India almost always regularly features as the #1 ranked team in all formats. To add fuel to the fire, they came so very close in every single tournament they've played thus far. How close? Let's start where we left off. In the 2015 World Cup, they were undefeated in the group stages with the debuts of battling talents Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan and bowling maestros Jadeja and Mohammad Shami. They were knocked out in the semis by hosts and eventually champions Australia. MS Dhoni, having cemented his legacy as a captain, now handed the reins over to Kohli, who faced his first challenge in the 2017 Champions Trophy. India performed admirably in this tournament, losing in the finals to none other than Pakistan. This devastating loss saw India desperate to win the 2019 edition of the World Cup, and to their dismay, this too was left unaccomplished. India topped the group but was beaten in the semis by New Zealand. This campaign saw Rohit Sharma shatter the record for the most centuries in a single World Cup, getting an unbelievable total of 5 centuries to his name. The scene in T20 for India fans was also quite bleak. 2014 saw them reach the finals and lose out to an experienced Sri Lankan team.
Yes, Sri Lanka, the new champions.
Despite hosting in 2016, they lost to eventual champions West Indies in the semis. Their 2021 campaign was by far their worst, not even making it past the Super 12. 2022 was far better, but they still couldn't defeat the winner England in the semis. Fans had to suffer heartbreak through all 3 formats as the Test World Cup brought them even more sadness. They lost 2 finals back-to-back in 2021 and 2023 to their rivals down under, New Zealand and Australia respectively. With so much talent in the squad, consistent performances, and no trophies to show for it, one thing was clear: the players were not entirely to blame. In an attempt to solve this, their first mission was the hunt for the perfect coach. After Gary Kirsten left the team for his native South Africa, India hired Duncan Fletcher. His performance in the 2013 Champions Trophy really wowed the fans and the board, but his failure to achieve a result in the 2015 World Cup caused equal disappointment. His journey with the Indian team ended in 2015 as he was not offered a contract renewal. From that point on, the role of head coach rotated between 4 former players, with Sanjay Bangar as interim for a brief period, and legends Ravi Shastri, Anil Kumble, and Rahul Dravid all taking up permanent positions. Eventually, the board decided to trust Rahul Dravid to usher in a new era of glory for the nation. It would be poetic justice, as he was never able to win the World Cup as a player or captain despite performing excellently. The team still struggled after the appointment of a trusted coach, and now questions began to arise around the dressing room. Specifically, is Virat Kohli a good captain? The board clearly didn't think so, and his IPL captaincy record with Royal Challengers Bangalore wasn't doing him any favors. Slowly but surely, the board selected his much more successful fellow IPL captain, Rohit Sharma, to replace him as ODI and T20 captain.
BCCI obviously for giving me the opportunity to represent the country.
Kohli eventually stepped down as Test captain too, making Rohit Sharma captain in all 3 formats. There were rumors about this causing a major dispute between the 2 legendary batsmen, and that Ravi Shastri actually had to step in to cool the rift.
People outside feeling that we are overconfident, it's absolutely rubbish.
It seemed that the weight of captaincy was clearly impacting his game. As soon as Kohli left captaincy, his slump in form was over. Kohli was back to his best after a year-long period of inconsistency. This was expected. All greats suffer periods of poor form, and only the best overcome them.
Kohli goes out of the ground.
They formed a super team that includes arguably the greatest batsman playing at the moment. Virat Kohli, alongside a strategic mastermind who also bats like his life is on the line, Rohit Sharma. Rahul Dravid, the coach who can identify the tiniest flaws that they need fixing. And the most feared bowlers, Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami. There was no doubt that India was surely the favorite of the 2023 World Cup in their home ground. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and KL Rahul are proven talents who can be relied upon to get the team plenty of runs. In the middle order, they have Suryakumar Yadav, whose explosive style has made him a household name in the IPL. In case they fail, veterans Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah can keep the opposition at bay with fine bowling. All-rounders Ravichandran Ashwin, Hardik Pandya, and Ravindra Jadeja can cover up lacking on either side. But what truly makes this a super team is the mixture of experience and youth. Shubman Gill and Ishan Kishan will no doubt become a formidable batting duo in the world of cricket. Mohammad Siraj and Kuldeep Yadav are both in the prime of their careers, making India an absolute nightmare for opposition batsmen for years to come. How do we know this is the perfect squad? Why did Dravid leave out some big names such as Shikhar Dhawan, Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Washington Sundar? Dravid clearly asked these questions to himself as well. Rotations carried on even until the last ODI series before the World Cup. He was criticized for this experimentation, but perhaps this was the very thing that allowed him to create a super team. 2023 was to be the year for India, an exciting team with a passionate coach and a home ground advantage. The World Cup victory was written in the stars. Was it finally time for Rahul Dravid to end his curse in World Cups? Would India finally find success in the world after MS Dhoni? Would the hopes and prayers of 1.4 billion Indians finally get answered? The 2023 World Cup started off with a bang with a convincing victory against world beaters Australia. They would go on to win all of their remaining fixtures with little to no competition, even breaking the record for largest margin victory by beating Sri Lanka by a whopping 302 runs. In sharp contrast, the winners Australia lost both of their first two games. Had India won the tournament, they would be only the fourth team to go the entire campaign undefeated after Australia, Sri Lanka, and West Indies. It wasn't just the team collectively that was performing. India showed glimpses of individual brilliance consistently with Virat Kohli and Mohammad Shami at the forefront.
And that's a hat-trick!
Kohli's 765 runs earned him the Player of the Tournament award. He also beat his compatriot Sachin's record of 49 ODI centuries to hit the magic number 50 over the course of the World Cup. What's more, he also broke the record for most half-centuries with a batting average of 95.62 in the tournament. With the ball, Shami was showing true magic, picking up 24 wickets and getting the best bowling figures in ODI World Cup history, 57 for 7. What makes this feat more impressive is the fact that he did this in a semi-final against New Zealand. With the stage set and brilliant performances all around, India failed to make it count when it mattered. The final saw a total collapse from a usually reliable batting side that put up only a total of 240. Australia comfortably chased this total with 7 overs and 6 wickets to spare, in no small part due to the excellent knock from Travis Head, who scored 137 off 120 balls. So, how did the super team do at the 2023 World Cup? To answer this question, we need to understand the expectations of this team. On paper, winning every single group stage match and blowing New Zealand out of the water in the semi-finals seems like a great credit, but when we consider the quality of the Indian side and the fact that it was played on home soil, this simply wasn't enough for the fans. Australia's wins seem to have delighted most of the cricketing world. However, due to their never-say-die attitude and amazing performance in the finals, there are few critics other than India's fans, of course.
Morgan. He tweeted, perhaps sarcastically, "Congrats to Australia on winning the World Cup, so well deserved."
A loss in the final meant that it would officially be at least 16 years till they win another World Cup. Indians must be asking themselves,
what does it take to be a fan?
This is the question in the midst of millions of fans right now. How on earth did India lose after such a dominant showing? Well, on the field, there can be 4 reasons for this. First and foremost, the slow, dry pitch did not do India any favors. It was meant to hinder Australia's batting as the board trusted the men in blue batting. However, it backfired severely as India's batsmen collapsed like dominoes. Secondly, India's dominance itself created an issue. You see, up until the final, India did not have any obstacles to overcome. Every match was decisive for them, and this meant that they were never truly challenged. So when the World Cup came around, they were not mentally prepared to face a solid opponent. On the other hand, Australia had anything but an easy group stage. They lost both their first matches and almost lost to Afghanistan had it not been for Maxwell's magical innings.
Glenn Maxwell! Unbelievable!
The third reason why India lost is simple. Australia was just too good on the day. Pat Cummins displayed perhaps the greatest decision-making ability as a captain with strategic bowler selection and a perfect field setting. With the bat, Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head formed a strong partnership that eventually won them the match. These Aussies were simply unbeatable.
For the sixth time.
Finally, and perhaps most controversial, some claim that the cricketers were too greedy for individual success. Former Indian captain Gautam Gambhir stressed the negative sides of this while praising the current captain Rohit Sharma and advising people not to overhype youngsters.
अपने स्टार्ट से ऑब्सेशन से हटेगी नहीं तब तक हमारे रिजल्ट्स उस तरीके के नहीं आएंगे जिस तरीके के हम चाहते हैं.
The 2023 World Cup featured plenty of veterans, and the best bet is most of them will be retired by the time 2027 rolls around. The question must be posed: are the youngsters good enough to do what their seniors couldn't? Our money is on the youngsters. Fans may feel disappointed and lack hope now, but you have to remember that India hadn't won any World Cups between 1984 and 2011 with other super teams, some that were even arguably better than the current one. Do you think that India will win a World Cup anytime soon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Till then, keep loving and supporting your teams. It's the fans that make the sports.